Hello and good evening. So, those of you who have not turned on their video, I would request you to please turn on, or you will be shifted to the waiting room without any further notice. Okay, so how many of you have your personal phones, like a phone that belongs to you? Please give me a show of hands. How many of you have a personal phone? Just give me a show of hands. And those who are not raising hands don't have a personal phone? Is it? Okay, fine. And how many have an Instagram account? Please raise your hand. Instagram account holders. Okay, fine. Thank you. And how many of you spend more than 2 hours on phone other than related to your curriculum and studies like gaming and other stuff? How many of you do that? Yes, more than 2 hours on phone with other stuff. Okay, so fine. Okay. You are not audible. Am I not audible? Can you hear me? Or no? Yes, you can hear me. So there's some problem with your connection if I'm not audible. Otherwise, I am audible. Okay. Now, today we will talk about self-esteem. Now, what do you think self-esteem means? Please write privately to me what, in your opinion, is self-esteem. So, what do you think this word self-esteem means? Yes. Yes, please write. I want all of you to give me your opinion about what you think self-esteem means. Because, okay. So, I received some answers. I'll read them to you. So, self-respect, self-confidence, think about yourself, to be confident and ready to face difficult situations, confidence in one's own worth, okay, self-respect, what does one think about himself in front of others, that which we have to maintain in our life, okay, then there is self-respect, our self-belief about our own abilities and potential, describe a person's overall sense of self-worth and personal value, personality, to know ourselves, self-awareness. Okay, so there are many, our opinions, choices, sense of self-worth, personal value. Okay, so there are lots of answers that are coming, and each of you are correct in your own way. So it means all of this. Now today I will give you a situation and ask you to think about how you would feel in that situation. Now somebody gifted you a PlayStation or an iPad, whichever you like. Okay, so if you like the iPad more or the PlayStation more, so probably your mother or your father or somebody gifted that to you. Fine. Now, will you be happy to receive it? Yes, you will be happy to receive it. Now, when you got it, after some time, you came to know that your friend has a better version of it. And he got the better one, and you got the version which is a little outdated. So you got the last season one, and he got the latest one. So then, will your happiness disappear or reduce? Yes? Show me your hands if it is yes. Yes. So you will feel less happy about it. Now, let me ask you one question. When you became happy on receiving that iPad or PlayStation, what actually made you happy? Is it the PlayStation or the iPad that made you happy? Is it the PlayStation or the iPad that made you happy? When you became happy, was it about the PlayStation or the iPad? Yes? So, how many say yes, it is that thing which made me happy? Please raise your hand. So, that thing made you happy. How many say yes, the thing made me happy? Okay, so mostly people agree that the thing made you happy. Now, the thing is, if it is the iPad that made you happy or the PlayStation that made you happy, then even when your friend got a better one, you still have that same iPad. So then why did your happiness reduce? Because it was related to that thing. So that thing is still the same. So your iPad hasn't changed, your PlayStation hasn't changed. So then why did you feel less happier after a few minutes or a few hours? If that thing was giving you happiness, then in the face of that thing being the same, there is no reason why your happiness should change. But then you are experiencing that your happiness has changed. So what does that mean? So, okay, so now do you get my question? So this is what you have to think about, that if you get something, it is not that thing that makes you happy, it is the thought you create on receiving that thing. Okay? So the thing doesn't make you happy, the thought you create on receiving that thing makes you happy. Right? So when you got the iPad or the PlayStation, you created a thought, now I'm happy because I got this. And when you created this thought, that thought gave you that feeling of happiness. So what I want you to register in your buddhi right now is that feelings are a product of thoughts, not things. So how you feel is a consequence of how you think. And how you think may not depend on what you have and what you don't have. So when you created that thought, when you got the iPad, when you got the PlayStation, you created this thought, yay, I'm happy, and you felt happy. And then when your friend, you discovered that your friend has a better version, then you created this thought, oh, this is useless and I don't want it. So then you felt unhappy. So your feelings are not a product of what you get or what you lose. They are a product of how you think. Are we on the same page? Do you agree with me? Yes? So is it the thing that gives you happiness or is it the thought that gives you happiness? How many say it is the thought now? Okay, the thought gives you happiness, right? Not the thing. Because when you get the thing, you create the thought that I got it, and then you feel what you feel as a result of what you think. So feelings emerge from the way you think. Now, it is very sad that we don't allow ourselves to create a thought of happiness without receiving something. So if you could just allow yourself to create a thought that I am happy without receiving something, then you could be happy even then. Yes, but then the fact that you don't allow yourself to create a thought I am happy until and unless you get something is a very sad phenomena. And this is why now you see how we program ourselves. For example, when your vacation starts, you tell yourselves, I will be happy when I will go on a trip. Do you create this thought? I will be happy when I'll go on a trip. And when you create this kind of a thought, then you tell your mind that you're not allowed to be happy until you go on a trip. And so you don't allow yourself to think I am happy until parents agree to take you on a trip. And sometimes when parents agree, you start feeling happy. So it's not about the trip, it's about you releasing yourself from the condition that that now I am allowed to be happy. Earlier I was not allowed to be happy because parents were not agreeing. So basically you are the one imposing conditions on your happiness, and you are the one lifting them up and experiencing happiness. But you think the thing or the trip or somebody's saying something or somebody's doing something is making you happy. But it is not like that. Do you agree with this now? Yes? So, do you want to be happy? And where is happiness? Happiness is not in the shop, it's not on the mountains, it's not near the sea. It is one thought away. It is one thought away, and you have to allow yourself to be happy. Right? So, why don't we allow ourselves to be happy come what may? Can we allow ourselves to be happy come what may? Could you program yourself to say that even if I have something or don't have something, even if somebody behaves nicely or badly, even if I get something or don't get something, I can still be happy? Can you tell yourself this? Yes? So basically, self-esteem is about realizing that your happiness, your peace, your experience of success or your experience of feeling powerful is not conditional upon you getting something or something going your way or not going your way. Right? Knowing your power is self-esteem, and you have the power to feel happy, feel peaceful, come what may. Even if nothing works your way, nothing goes as planned, nothing is going on as expected, you can still allow yourself to create that thought that I am happy and I am peaceful. Yes? So this is about creating thoughts which lead to feelings. So when you know this power that lies within you, then you can always be happy, always be peaceful, always feel confident, always feel powerful, even if things are not going as planned or as expected. So this is what I call self-esteem. Do you like this definition? Do you like this definition of self-esteem? So if you follow this definition of self-esteem, then even if everything around you is changing, your feelings won't change. Would you like to be always happy, always peaceful? How many would like that? Please raise your hand. Would you like to be always happy, always peaceful? Yes? So now you know that you are the only one obstructing your peace and happiness. From now on, you cannot blame anybody else for taking away your peace and happiness. Do you sometimes blame people and situations for taking away your happiness? Yes, you are making me feel sad, you are making me feel miserable. It is because of you that I am sad today, it is because of you that I am feeling this way. Yes, do you blame other people? So now you know that you don't have to blame anybody, because that is an internal choice that you are constantly taking. Okay? Now let me ask you a few questions. How many of you think that you can always succeed in whatever you do? Like, you could always be number one, you could always crack the project, you could always do whatever you wanted, and nothing could go unplanned. How many of you think that it is possible that everything goes your way always? I'm just asking of a possibility. Is it possible for anybody that everything goes as they want it to go always? Is it a possibility? Can this happen? Is it possible that do you know somebody for whom everything goes the way they want it always? Is it possible? Sometimes they will go your way, yes, but other times they won't. Do you agree with this? So not everything can go the way you planned always. Do you agree with this? How many agree with this? Yes, that not everything can go as planned always. So even if you work very hard, sometimes you will come second and not first. Is that possible? Yes. So it is not like you can ensure an outcome always. So when we say success and failure, nothing of this sort exists actually. It is just a vocabulary that we have coined. Sometimes things will go your way, sometimes things will not go your way, and this is the law of nature. Nobody can change it. Can anybody change it? No. Sometimes things will go as you plan it, sometimes things will not go as you plan it. Now, if you label them, if you label a situation as success when things go the way you want them to go, and if you label a situation as failure when they don't go the way you plan them to go, then there is a problem in which you are labeling them. So sometimes things will go your way, sometimes things will not go your way, and it is not called failure or success. What is it called then? What is a better word to call it? Yes, sometimes things will go as planned, sometimes things will not go as planned, and I don't recommend that you call it success or failure. So please come up with a better word with which you could address that situation. What do you think we could call it? Bad day and good day? Anything else? Anybody else saying something? Nature's law, affirmation, okay, learning, happiness. Can we say it's learning? Okay, flow of life. Oh, you are all very learned people here. I am giving you KG lessons. You are already in your master's classes. Bad luck, not a time and the right time. Loser and winner. Okay. So, could we call it change? Could we just call it change? Yes? Is it good to call something which is happening out there and not going your way, it is just change? Yes, something was the way you anticipated it yesterday and now it is not the way you expected it to be. It is a change. It is just a simple change. Yes, it is not success, not failure, it is none of these. And you should have the ability to deal with change. So when things and situations and people change, you need to work with them differently. Right? So if you planned in a certain way and you prepared in a certain way and then you didn't get the marks that you expected, what you need to do is you change your strategy with which you study. That's it. Yes, because the situation changed. It didn't remain the same. So if you use a word like change, it makes it very easy to handle. And basically everything that happens in life is change. It is not success, not failure, not good, nor bad, not less than, greater than. It is just simple change. Yes, yesterday was different, today is different. And when you see life and situations and people with this attitude, then it becomes very easy to deal with them. For example, you all have a best friend each. So yes, now you find your best friend teaming up with your worst enemy. What is that called? What is that called? What is that called in your language? That is called betrayal. Okay. That is called betrayal. Or is it called change? It is not called cheater or betrayal. So this is what I'm teaching you now. So you have to learn, be good learners. So it's not betrayal, it is change. World War III. Somebody is writing World War III for me. So it is neither betrayal nor is it World War III. It is just change. And when your best friend teams up with your worst enemy, then it's time to change. What do you have to change? What do you have to change in that situation? Your mood, okay. What else do you have to change? Your mind and our perspective, ourselves, best friend. You have to change your friend. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to just adjust your attitude and tell yourself, okay, it's not what I thought, it is something different and it's okay. Right? Why do you think that you lost a friend? They also lost a friend, so the loss is equal. Yes? So why do you think that they betrayed you? Probably they betrayed themselves is a good idea. Yes? Did they betray you or did they betray themselves? You were a loyal friend and they teamed up with your enemy. So now they have one loyal friend less. So that means they betrayed themselves or they betrayed you. They betrayed themselves. For them it is betraying themselves, and for you it is change for the good, because now you know, now you have one less loyal friend. Yes, so is this change for good or for bad? It is for good. And how long will you take to accept this change and move on? How long will you take to accept this change and move on? It should not even take a second. Okay, why? Because when things change, you should know that they always change for good. And when you keep this in your mind that every change is for good, then you adjust your attitude and move on in less than a second. Because you never lose anything, you never find anything. Whatever happens is leading you to something better. Do you agree with this? Do you agree with this? Just look back at your life. Whatever changed, did you after some time discover that it changed for good? Yes, and if you reflected on it, you would agree with me. And if you just keep this one fact in mind while it is changing, then you wouldn't label it betrayal or you wouldn't label it failure, you wouldn't label it anything else. Okay, then, but what if we were most loyal to them? So they lost a loyal friend. So their loss, Yes, you were most loyal to them, so they lost you, so it's their loss, right? Now, you know why we feel sorry when change arises? You know why we feel sorry when something changes? Why you feel sorry when your best friend teams up with your worst enemy? You feel sorry because you are dependent on them. Because you are dependent on them. So you do not feel sorry because they betrayed you, but you feel sorry because you lost your source from which you were seeking fulfillment. Yes, you know we are all parasites. You know parasites? They cling on to the other one and suck their blood. So you were the one sucking their blood. So now now they have freed themselves. You don't like their freedom. So you want to suck more blood and they are not available. So that is why you feel sorry. Right? And if you are not the parasite, you will not feel sorry. They will feel sorry for losing you. Right? So now you can check who feels sorry. The one who was sucking the blood of the other feels sorry. And if you are the one who was the generous one and who was the giving one in the relationship, then you will never feel sorry and they will feel sorry for losing you. Do you agree with this? Do you agree with this? Yes? So you never actually feel sorry about losing somebody. You always feel sorry about losing your supply of what you were getting from them. Okay? And if you want to be in a position where you don't want to feel sorry about change, then you have to source that supply from within yourself. If you have a friend who used to give you compliments and appreciate you, and then you lose them, then you are actually feeling sorry about not getting those compliments anymore. Now, if you know how to compliment yourself, then you will not feel sorry. Right? So anybody who is sourcing their fulfillment from other people will feel sorry on losing them. And if you are the person who is the giver in the relationship, then they will feel sorry about losing you. Does this make sense? Yes? Are you getting it? Do you agree with this? That when you are the one who is the giver in the relationship, then the person who is leaving you will feel sorry. And if you are the one who is the taker in the relationship, then you will feel sorry about losing them. Now, is it better to be in a position where other people feel sorry about losing you, or is it better to be in a position where you feel sorry about losing people? Which one is better? Where others feel sorry about losing you, right? So you want to be in a situation where others feel sorry about losing you. So then what do you have to become? You have to become the giver in a relationship. And if you are the taker, then you will feel sorry because your supply is disrupted. Fine. So this is how the law operates. So now this is about the change with respect to people. Now, for example, you lost in an exam, or you didn't get the marks you had expected, or worse still, you prepared very hard and the exam didn't get conducted. You prepared well and then the exam got deferred or delayed, then how do you feel? You feel bad? So all your preparation went to waste, is it? Then all your preparation went to waste, is it? Who are you studying for? Are you studying for the exam or are you studying to learn? What do you study for? Do you study for the exam or do you study to learn? How many really study to learn? Please raise your hand. I don't believe you, but still you can raise your hand. So, how many are studying to learn? So, you're all studying for the exam, is it? Huh? So, everybody is studying for the exam. Now, if you are studying for the exam, then the exam, deferment of the exam can make you feel sad. But if you are studying to learn, then if the exam gets postponed, you will be happy because it will give you more time to learn more. Right? So basically, every situation can be advantageous or disadvantageous according to how we have trained ourselves. If you are grooming yourself with the thought process that I'm studying to learn, then even if the exam gets postponed, it is okay. Now, another situation, you prepared very well, but then you didn't get the marks you expected. So the paper didn't come as expected, or sometimes I always hear that the exam always goes fine, it is the result that doesn't come up to expectations. So the exam also went well, but the result didn't come up to expectations. So if you prepared well but the result didn't come up to your expectations, do you feel bad? Do you feel bad? Yes. Now, why do you feel bad? Does the results certify how much you studied? Does the results certify how much you studied? Don't you know for yourself that you studied? It's just that the result didn't go as expected, but that doesn't mean that you didn't study well. If you get less marks, does that mean that you didn't study well? And if you got marks but you hadn't studied well, but it was just that you were lucky and you got the right questions, does that mean that you studied well? No, right? So what is important? Is looking good important or being good important? What is important? You should look good or be good. Do you know the difference between looking good and being good? Yes? Looking good and being good. Now, you have to know the difference between these two things. For example, you did something wrong and you didn't get caught. This is one situation. You did something wrong but you didn't get caught. And another situation is you didn't do anything but people took you wrongly and they alleged you for something. Which one is a better situation? First one, you did something wrong which you know was wrong, but you didn't get caught. And second one is people thought you did something wrong but you had not done anything wrong. Which one of the two would you like to be in if you had a choice to be in either of them? First one. So you want to do something wrong but not get caught. It is better than people alleging you and you not doing something wrong, right? Now, so this is the choice about being good versus looking good. So if you're taking the first choice, that means you're more interested in looking good. And if you're taking the second choice, you're more interested in being good. Now let me tell you the difference between the two. Now when you do something wrong, who knows it? You know it. Yes? And when you know that you are wrong, then you have that biting feeling inside you. Have you experienced it? Your conscience bites. Yes, that I did something wrong and somebody else got punished, but then I did it wrong. And I've seen people who spend all their lives and grow up to be big stars, and they reach stardom and get everything in life, and after 30 years, 40 years, they stand on a stage and confess that 30, 40 years back I did something and my friend got punished and I'm still guilty about it. So conscience doesn't leave you, right? So when you did something wrong and you know it, then it is the worst place to be in. And even if somebody alleged you about something, but you had not done something wrong, then you will not feel bad because you know that you didn't do it. Right? Okay, so it is better to have your conscience as the friend, as your best friend, than having other people as your best friend. Do you agree with this? Or do you think it is better that I do all wrong and have a lot of friends outside? Yes, so from today onwards, you have to start thinking about these things, because if you are more interested in looking good, then you will end up doing a lot of wrong things just to look good in the eyes of other people. Yes, do you experience situations where your friends expect you to do something and you know that that is not your calling, but still you do it because you are under peer pressure? Yes. Now when you do something of that sort, then how does it feel inside? You don't feel okay inside. And do you know that losing your conscience is a very big loss that one can face, because your conscience is your best guide on this journey of life. When you go by car and you use your GPS, then your GPS keeps showing you the way. Yes, but if you don't listen to your GPS, then what happens? The GPS reroutes itself. Have you seen it? Similarly, if you don't listen to your conscience will reroute itself, and then it will not show you the right way after some time. Have you ever wondered, when you see some people, mostly elder people, doing something which you think and feel is very wrong, and you know that you would never do it, but they are doing it? Have you seen this thing happening? Have you seen other people doing things that you would never, you can never imagine you would do? Have you seen that? Now, why do you think they do it? Because their conscience is no more with them. So they don't have a faithful guide who guides them about the right way to be. So this is something that we need to learn. So first thing is, looking good is not important, being good is important. Even if the whole world thinks you are wrong, you think you are right, it is okay. And if you know you are wrong, then even if the whole world thinks you are right, you will not be able to live with that feeling. Okay? Because that is something that you know in your heart. And when you experience this kind of feeling, you get sleepless nights, right? So never go against your conscience. Choose what you think is the right way to be. Don't be guided by peer pressure, or don't fall under the under the sway of other people dictating terms to you, but you should be able to choose what you think is the right way to be. So today, what did we do until now? Would somebody recapitulate? Who would recapitulate it for me, whatever we did until now? Himanish bhai, tell me, what did we do? Wait a second, we are unmuting you. Yes, unmute yourself. Okay, so you can't tell me. Okay, so yes, Mannat bhai, tell me, what did we do until now? Mannat Sehra bhai, tell me. Okay, sister. Mannat Sehra, sister, tell me. Yes. Hmm. 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 Yes. Hmm. Yes. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So we understood that there is nothing like betrayal, or there is nothing like good or bad, or a good day or a bad day. It is just change. And we need to have the right attitude towards change. We need to accept change and work with it. Second thing is, we need to not be a taker in a relationship, be a giver, so that we don't feel at loss when people change, right? And thirdly, we did something about studying to learn rather than studying for the exam. And then we understood about looking good and being good. I wanted to ask whether the rerouted consciousness can be brought back on the right path. Yes, it can be, but the place where you all are right now, I think your conscience is still working. So, before it gets rerouted, I'm giving you this chapter so that you go by your conscience, right? So, take decisions which make you feel proud of yourself, right? Now, will you tell me, do you all lie? Everybody lies, I'm sure. Yes? So, why do you lie? Why do you tell lies? Please write in the chat box. Why do you lie? Fear. Yes. Yes. Attention. Yes. Because we are not proud of the truth. Yes. ताकि पेरेंट्स को पता ना चले, to save myself, to hide our mistakes, to make out of some, okay, fear. Okay, so these are the factors. So now, you don't lie because you're bad, right? You lie because you're scared. True? Yes, so lying is not about being bad, lying is about being scared. Right? Now, when lying is about being scared, then you need to face your fears and tell the truth. Why? Because when you lie, what happens? The truth ceases to be the truth, is it? So, write down one law. The truth will remain the truth even if you run miles away from it. The truth will remain the truth even if you run miles away from it. So that is why, even if you turn your back to the truth and you lie and you think that the matter is over, still the truth will remain the truth. And then you will have to keep feeling scared about the truth being exposed all your life. Yes? Do you ever get over a lie? We never get over a lie, because when we lie, the truth gets shrouded for a little moment, but then again we constantly feel fearful about the truth getting exposed. So what we need to do is, we need to come up with the truth and face the consequences, so that it is once and for all over. Is it better to face your fear once, or feel fearful all your life? Which is better? It is better to face your fear once, right? So you cannot undo your mistake by lying about it. Whatever is done. So now you have to face it. And remember this, if you learn to face your truths, then later in life you will not have fears. But if you lie once, lie twice, and then you don't, and once you lie, twice you lie, then third time that little courage that you had in the first time is also gone, and then you don't have any courage to face the truth anymore in life, and then you keep lying and keep feeling afraid all your life. And do you know, you feel so afraid, and you hide little things which don't even have any consequences. Can any of you come up with an example where you thought that telling the truth will bring very big consequences, but when you said it, nothing happened? Can any of you share such a story? That you were afraid in the beginning that if I tell this or people come to know this, then it will be a very big problem, but you anyways did it, and then you found out that it was not a big deal at all, and nobody even reacted. So Vaishnavi Shukla, yes, please let me know your story. Wait a second, I'm unmuting you. Vaishnavi Shukla. Yes, please speak, Hanji. Yes. Hmm. 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 We lost your connection, it seems. Ah. Hmm. 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 Yes. So let me repeat her experience. So she just said that she kept building on lies because of some situation, and then she was afraid that if her mother comes to know, then she would have a bad reaction to it. But when she got completely exhausted with all that thing, then she confessed to her mother, and to her surprise, her mother didn't react at all. So she was very understanding, and she accepted the whole truth and embraced her also. So what the point that I want to drive in here is, do other people amongst this group also have such experiences? Can you think of something that you also have an experience about, where you faced the truth and you confessed it, and then you saw that there was no reaction? Yes, whether it be with friends or parents, or so I had one of them, somebody else is writing. So now you see, we all have these experiences if we do it. So what you need to understand here is, we are not afraid of other people. The fears that we experience are very personal. Our fears are personal, they are not related to other people. So when you are afraid that other people will react badly, actually it's not about them, it's about yourself. It is about your fear that they will react badly. They may or they may not react badly. Yes, but why you don't tell the truth? From experience. So you have seen people react badly to it, right? And that is why you stop telling the truth. But now you have to understand that maybe not everybody can listen to the truth. Not everybody can listen to the truth, but there would be somebody, maybe parent, maybe a teacher, maybe myself. If you want to reach out to me sometime, you can talk to somebody you trust, somebody you have faith in, and tell them the truth, and this confession will lighten you, and that person can also help you see a solution which you cannot see when you are so afraid. Yes, when you mess up things, see, whatever you have messed up, you're already messed up. So that there is no point discussing that. But the thing is, that needs to be corrected and taken care of. It can't lie around like that. It has to be taken care of. So when it has to be taken care of, somebody that you trust, you need to confide into them and tell them what happened so that they can help you see the solution. It could be anybody. It is not necessary that if you don't have trust in your mother, then maybe the father, not the father, then maybe the mother. If both the parents you don't trust, then maybe some teacher, maybe myself, maybe some friend, maybe somebody. But you should know who to trust, who will guide you, but you should always have a fallback. And if you don't have a fallback, then what happens is, and if you choose the wrong fallback, it is worse. Okay, so if you choose a person and confide in them and they start blackmailing you, that is worse. Okay, so you need to choose somebody who you know will help you out. And for that, you need to judge their character for once. So this is very important, because if you can't take care of a situation which is already created, then you need somebody to help you come out of that. Okay. So the problem is that most people become judgmental, right? Yes, most people become judgmental, but then there must be somebody who is not judgmental. Right? There must be somebody who is not judgmental, and you have to find that one person who you can talk to. Right? So, how to judge a person? So, from experience, you know how the people who will not judge you, don't you know? From experience, you know, by trial and error, you know people that this is somebody who will not judge me, this is somebody who will judge me. So from experience, most of us know who to go to when things get messed up. You know what? I will tell you one thing. This is a story of a young boy like you, and he messed up things very badly. He started something over the internet and it went really bad, and he had messed up so badly that he was about to end up in jail. But then somehow his parents figured out, and he always thought that his parents are the most judgmental people. But on the contrary, when the parents found out, they helped him, they cleared the mess, they got him out of it, and they are the ones who are putting him back on track also. So you should also know that even if parents look tough, if you take them into confidence, they don't react when you have really messed up. Okay, so instead of judging other people, I would ask you to trust your parents first. Fine. So because they are very invested in your well-being, even if they don't look like that, they are still very invested in your well-being. And even if you don't trust them, they are the most trustworthy people around you, and you need to go to them when you need to speak the truth. So this is something. Is writing a good option for sharing? Yes, but where that paper ends up, you have to be careful, right? Now, so about self-esteem, we are talking about so many things, and in all of this, what I'm trying to deliver is, I'm trying to I'm asking you to choose. I'm asking you to choose peace and happiness over agitation and frustration. I'm asking you to choose a positive mindset instead of a negative mindset. I'm asking you to choose truth over lies. I'm asking you to choose being good over looking good. And why I'm asking you to make these choices is because these choices are very important for our self-esteem. So if you always take the wrong path, then what happens is you lose confidence in yourself. You don't believe in yourself anymore. If you take the wrong path, you stop believing in yourself. Do you think that as you are growing up, you have started believing in yourself less and less? Earlier you believed in yourself more. How many think that with each passing birthday, your sense of self-belief is becoming lesser? Please raise your hand. As you're growing up, you have started doubting yourself more. Is that happening? How many say yes, it is happening? It is happening, right? And you know why it is happening? Because you are making these choices which I just discussed, and when you go against your conscience, it loses functionality and you start feeling less sure about yourself. And then you know what happens? You start depending on others to make you feel okay, to give you a sense that you are worthy. So, three words: acceptance, appreciation, and approval seeking starts. These three things start: acceptance seeking, approval seeking, and appreciation seeking start when you stop believing in yourself. And do you know why do you have to have an Instagram account? So that you can fill in that void of lack of self-worth by people's likes and comments and appreciation. Yes? Do you go to your friends to seek approval? Do you go to your friends and wait so that they can approve what you're thinking? Yes? Do you know 5 years down the line, 5 years back, you didn't want their approval? You knew what you were doing was right, and now you want their approval because you are no more sure about right and wrong anymore. And this happens when you start losing contact with yourself. So you are in the right age, and most people are not as fortunate as you to be receiving this lesson at the right age. So you need to understand that if you make a choice about feeling positive, feeling okay, choosing being good over looking good, choosing to go by your conscience, choosing to say the truth, if you go by these things, then even if you are 70 years of age or 50 years of age, you will never have to seek approval, acceptance and appreciation from others. And today everybody has become a beggar, going from one person to the other with a begging bowl कि मुझे approval दे दो, मुझे recognition दे दो, मुझे acceptance दे दो, मुझे प्यार दे दो, मुझे एक बार झूठा ही सही बोल दो कि मैं बहुत अच्छा हूँ. है ना? तो this is what is happening in the world because we have lost touch with ourselves. So I do not want you to reach that place. So I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to choose the good path. I want you to go by what your heart says, go by what you feel right, and when you do all that, then your conscience will always be with you. You will not feel like you are the wrong person and somebody else knows more than you or better than you, or they are the ones who will tell you you are okay and only then you can feel okay. Okay? Now, okay, so there are questions, and Didi, actually don't use Instagram, but I don't know why I had made my Instagram account. That's okay, है ना? It is conscience actually, है ना? Is conscience controlled by feelings or thoughts? So conscience is not controlled by feelings or thoughts. Conscience is your inner machinery that gives you the signal whether you are on the right path or the wrong path. You all have that machinery inside you, right? Which keeps telling you, ye galat kiya, ye galat kiya, ye theek kiya, ye theek kiya. Right? There is somebody inside you telling you, ye theek kiya, ye theek kiya, ye galat kiya, ye galat kiya. So that one is the conscience. And you should listen to that one. And if you don't listen to it, it stops talking to you. And then you have lost your friend who was always guiding you. Okay, ma'am, I'm depressed. No, you are not depressed. If you were depressed, you wouldn't write you are depressed. Okay, so you are just bored. Okay, now when you are bored, what you do is you talk and you let your feelings out. And if you want, you can call on the number given and talk to me and you will feel okay. Now, another thing is, Didi, if parents could not figure out things between themselves, can they act good for me in trouble? Maybe yes, because even if they couldn't figure out things for themselves, maybe they didn't love each other very much, but they love you, so they could give you some solution which is good for you. Okay. How to contact you? You have the number on which you WhatsApp, and for the ID, password, and everything, you can talk to me on that. Okay. Then please guide about importance of meditation and the correct way to do it. We will talk about meditation tomorrow. Tomorrow's session is all about meditation. Okay. Didi, how to be rigid against bad feelings or words of others without any fault of mine. Okay. So if somebody tells you something which is not true, okay? Somebody tells you something which is not true. Somebody tells you that you are lazy and you don't think you are lazy, right? So how to deal with that? Do you have to deal with it at all? Now, if I give you an example, what if somebody gives you a rotten fruit? Do you eat it? No. Why? Why? You deserve better. You deserve better, right? That's why you don't take that rotten fruit and eat it. Now, if somebody tells you something which is equally rotten, then you don't take it because you deserve better. Okay, so tell yourself you deserve better and move on. Don't worry about something that you don't even agree with. So if somebody tells you something, just take that thing and assess. Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? If you agree with it, change yourself. If you don't agree with it, give it back to them, which means don't react. Just let them have their opinion. We all live in a free country and everybody is free to have their opinion. Yes, you can't stop people from having their opinion or voicing them out, but you can stop yourself from reacting to it. Fine. Then what do you do when our self-esteem is going down, although we don't want it to? So this is the way. Start acting in accordance with your conscience. Then your self-esteem will be revived. We will do all this in the next chapter tomorrow. Okay, if parents don't support our career and choice, what to do? So you have to negotiate with them, you have to sit with them, talk to them. And one more thing, see, if you want something from somebody, you have to be nice to them. Yes, if you want something from your friend, do you have to be nice to her? Yes, so you want your parents to see your point of view, you want your parents to see your perspective, then you have to share that perspective in a nice way. You can't be rude, rigid, frustrated, irritated, shouting, dancing around and giving your opinion. Okay, so you have to be nice, you have to be polite, you have to be good, and then you have to talk to your parents and talk to them, keep talking to them until they see your point. Yes, but with faith, with love, because love connects. And whenever there is irritation or complaint, then you are not connected with that person. So whatever you convey to them is not reaching them. So you need to understand that when you are talking to your parents and trying to drive a point, you have to do that in good spirit. You have to be in good shape, in good form, good state of mind. You have to have trust and faith in them and then talk to them. Okay? Then, okay, so there are lots of questions. Okay. How to prevent bad thoughts? So, bad thoughts can't be prevented, they can be changed. Okay, so tomorrow we will do SOS. So, you know what SOS is? Stop, observe, and switch. Stop, observe, and switch. So, when you stop and observe that you are having bad thoughts, then what you do is you switch. You change it to better ones. This is how you deal with bad thoughts or negative thoughts. How to overcome loneliness. Okay. So when this loneliness thing comes up, then you need to have a trustworthy friend. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in, how many of you believe in God? Okay. Okay. Do you know God? No. Okay. So we will also know God. So when you know God and believe in God, then God can be your friend. Right now He's just a belief because you believe in Him and you don't know Him. So I don't believe in God and I'm an agnostic. So do you know what is God or who is God? The one who is writing, I don't believe in God. Do you know what is God or who is God? So how can't you believe in something you don't even know? In order to not believe, you have to first know. If you don't know, the question of not believing or believing doesn't arise. So yes, I understand that you don't believe in the concept of God that has been given to you. But the concept of God that has been given to you is very different from God Himself. Okay? So when you know God, then you will believe in Him and then you will love Him and He will love you back. Right? So we will do that. Now, okay, so there are so many questions and I can't take all of them today. How to increase our willpower, or what we call sankalp mein shakti bharna. Okay. How to increase willpower? So you see, if I tell you that your body is weak but your hands are strong, is it possible? No. Why? Because hands are a part of the body. Right? So what is willpower a part of? Okay? So we need to understand where is willpower or what is willpower a part of. So willpower is a part of the soul. Okay? It is a part of your inner world. So when you increase your soul power, your willpower increases. Okay, now what is soul power? So in short, I will tell you today, soul power is your potential of knowledge, purity, peace, happiness, bliss and power. Please write this down. 7 qualities: knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss and power. These 7 things are what you call the soul power. So when your level of purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss and power is high, then you have greater soul power. Knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss and power. So when these 7 things are more in quantity, then you have greater soul power, and that results in greater willpower. And if the quotient of these things is low, then you have lesser willpower, because that is the body, the hand of which is the willpower, right? Now, this is why from the beginning of the session, I'm asking you to choose peace, choose happiness, choose truth, because these are the elements of the soul. And when you choose these increase, and this increases your willpower. Fine. Now, okay, so those of you who gave a question but we are not able to take it up, you please note it down, and we will take it up first thing in the session tomorrow. And tomorrow I think we will conduct this session a little up to late, which is up to 6:30, so that we can do a lot of things. Or can you are you people willing to join me on Monday also? Yes, so we can extend this for 1 or 2 days. Now that you're interested in God and soul and everything, we can do certain things, right? So fine. So tomorrow we will take up some of your questions and also do soul and meditation, and then we will take up other chapters from Monday to until whenever you are okay with coming up to classes. Okay, ठीक है. So let's finish. Let's finish with a minute of silence and meditation. Okay, so some people are saying school starts from Monday. So we will record it, so you can listen to the recording if you are not able to. But I will require at least 40 people to attend it for me to conduct it. So those who are should attend it. Fine? Chalo. Let's sit quietly. Same time, we will conduct it same time, 4:45 to 6. Fine. Sit quietly and just recapitulate what we did today. My feelings are a product of my thoughts. And my life is a product of my choices. I want to adopt an attitude which enables me to stay peaceful, truthful, positive and happy in every situation. The more I choose truth and peace and happiness, the more it grows in my inner world, and my soul power increases. Let me just sit with this thought for some time. Om Shanti.